I was going to get on my bike and ride around after the high tide went out, but it's too windy. Now, you may recall that this street was completely flooded and the water was up to their first step. It's gone down. Low tide is around 3 today. It's 2:13 now, so we are in low tide. This whole street was flooded up over the curb onto yards. What I'm going to do is drive around a bit. This was all underwater here, and I came out earlier and I put my foot in the water and it almost came up to my knee. So now this is showing you where the crap is on the road. The water was that high. This is US 1, also known as Ponce de Leon Boulevard, State Road US 1. Let's see if I can, I'm not going to do crazy maneuvers. I'm just going to go up and make a U-turn. So on the other side of those trees right there is the San Carlos here. This street is very low usually, and I assure you there was a lot of water there. I don't want to stick my live camera into people's cars, but that's where there's a traffic circle, and if I were to go in that direction, I would be going over the Vilano Bridge to the ocean, which I might still do. I probably should have thought that out before I turned the camera on. That's okay. Waiting for the light, the beauty of live video. Maybe I should do that first. Well, okay. I'm gonna have to wait for the light to turn. Okay, yeah, you know what? Let's see if I can get over. And let me do that first. Let me go over to the beach at Vilano, which is where I took you yesterday when I drove around before Nicole had hit. So this is one of the National Guard armories, by the way. We're here in Uptown St. Augustine. This is San Marco Avenue, which remained dry because it's high enough. So we're coming here to the traffic circle at San Carlos. Now, just an FYI, if you watch my videos, then you know all kinds of stupid history and stuff. This is where a secondary wall was built. I don't remember exactly when. It was before the British took control of St. Augustine from the Spanish. A second wall was built here that was referred to as the Hornworks, the Hornbank, the Hornbeck. This was the shortest part of the peninsula between the San Sebastian River and the Tolomado River, and they built an earthen wall here. I believe it was 6 to 9. No, it was 9 feet tall, if I remember correctly, and it was filled with timber and palm logs, and then they topped it with what is it called? Spanish bayonet, which is a really dangerous cactus thing. If you fall on a Spanish bayonet, like if you are messing around and you fall on a Spanish bayonet, it will pierce you. I mean, they can kill you. They're fierce. Okay, so back behind me, back there at that traffic circle, that's where the Hornbank was, because this is the narrowest part of the peninsula. And so what they were trying to do is they were trying to create a secondary fortress from the north. We're looking north. That water usually isn't there. It's usually not that high. That's the Tolomado River out there. They created a secondary fortification after Oglethorpe and his guys. Whoa! When the tide was high, about 3 feet ago, that would have all been underwater, you can see. So if you can imagine, on my street alone, there was at least 3 more feet of elevation of water. So if you can imagine 3 more feet on this water. Yeah, the Hornbank was there. And it was after Oglethorpe's guys, when St. Augustine was still Spanish territory, Oglethorpe and his guys got down here and they attacked what was known as Siloy, which is now Our Lady of La Leche Catholic Church, which was the fortress. You see, the Tolomano River usually doesn't have white caps, and I don't know if you can tell how buffeted my car is. And ahead of me is the Atlantic Ocean. Can you see all those white caps? Holy cow, holy cow, holy cow, holy cow. There are sections, this is US A1A. If I were to turn left, I can go north all the way to Jacksonville and ultimately go all the way to Maine. But there are stretches here north of here. This area is called Vilano Beach, but just north of here, oh look, the cops there, the road's closed. What I was going to say is there are sections of that road where the sand dunes that were protecting the road washed away. And not only was the ocean on the road, but there was just absolutely no protection. So they're not letting anybody go that way that don't live there, which is good. But I'm going to come down here because this is a place where the ocean usually comes up on the road. You can see there's a lot of detritus here, but that all could be wind. Where we're going to turn here, take you to Vilano Beach. The ocean is usually up on the road, even during a normal storm. So it probably was. Yeah, I can see that it was. It's not now, it's gone down. But you'll probably be able to see. Do you see how there's sand right here? The ocean was here. Can you see that? The ocean was here. And it would have come up through there where that guy is walking. Yeah, the ocean was all here. Ooh, Lordy. Now there's walkways over the sand dunes, and they were completely destroyed during Hurricane Ian, and they haven't had a chance to rebuild them yet. But I can't take you there because they're all blocked off. But you see how windy it is. I really don't want to get out of the car. If you saw my video from yesterday, you saw that the water was probably 6 feet from the embankment yesterday, before the storm even got here. I'll do this. I'll just pull up real quick. Oh, can you see the water? I don't want to go any closer. There's people. No, there's people. I'm not going to go up there. I'm not going to be one of those idiots that pulls up there and parks. Yeah, all of these hotels would have evacuated. The ocean's pretty furious. The ocean was all here. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's go back now. Let's go back over the bridge and let's go downtown to Old Town, which there was already flooding yesterday before the storm even hit. And there's that cop again. See, he's preventing people from going north on A1A because, as I indicated to you, the ocean was on the road up there. And there's usually not standing water there. Yeah, so those people that live north on the coast are screwed. So yeah, the water is usually not standing there in the marshes, if you can see that. That's usually just marsh or even grassland, and it's all full of water now. My car is being buffeted. That boat was out there yesterday. I can't believe they weathered the storm out there. Holy cow. Here we're looking back at St. Augustine. Whew, might be able to see the lighthouse in the distance. We're coming down over the Vilano Bridge. That's Comanche Harbor. And on the other side of Comanche Harbor, you might see what looks like an arena of some sort. That's the Deaf and Blind School, the St. Augustine Deaf and Blind School, where Ray Charles actually went to school. And this normally here is not all, the river is normally not that high. That's usually grassland. I can't believe those boats are out there. You know, that one boat, he doesn't look very stable. That one boat looked like he took on water. So here we're passing Comanche Island, which is a lot of people dock their boats there. And it's, I guess it's pretty safe as places to dock your boats go. Yeah, see, this would have all been covered with water. Not too long ago, you see there's still standing water. Yeah, that was all covered in water during Ian too. So we're going to go back. Hey, I see there are a lot of watching. Hey, we're going to go back and drive. We'll drive on San Marco, which is the street that becomes Avenida de Menendez, which is the street that goes right past the Castillo de San Marcos, and then we'll drive through Old Town a little bit. You know what? Just for the hell of it, since I have to slow down here, if I can make a left turn here, if they let me. This is all very low over here, this neighborhood. This is all landfill. Yeah, let's see. Let's make a left turn here. This will take us right past the Fountain of Youth. These people do not have a good time back here. This is all filled in. This isn't real. I mean, some of it is, but one of the most beautiful streets in St. Augustine, the street that goes past the front of the Fountain of Youth. But you can see both the destruction from winds and, I assure you, flooding. There's some standing water back there. Okay, so all this tabby wall behind that is the Fountain of Youth, which is a big scam. Big scam. But the street is just so gorgeous, if nothing else. You can see the destruction of both wind and water. There are wild peacocks that are all over in there, and normally you can hear the peacocks. I always wonder where they go when the storms come. I wonder if I don't know how peacocks naturally live. So, you know, I don't know, do they have a barn for them or something? And it's interesting because they're like squirrels at the Fountain of Youth. You know, you go to a park and the squirrels come up to you and beg for food. Well, the peacocks at the Fountain of Youth come up to you and beg for food too. So here in front of us is San Marco. That's my liquor store. It stayed open all through Hurricane Ian, and they're still open today. Part of that is because San Marco didn't flood. It didn't flood during Ian. It didn't flood today. This is Our Lady of La Leche, and there is a natural bay in there, and the water is very high. If you can imagine, there was at least 3 more feet to the water that was there. That water would have been all over the grass. We'll be able to see up here. They've got all the crosses for all the aborted babies. Yeah, it's high. That's the Matanzas River back there, but it's gone down. You can see it's gone down a good couple feet. Now again, this is uptown. This didn't flood. Certainly there was wind. We're coming up on the left. You see that tower. That's the Castillo Hotel that went up 2 years ago. That stands where the Hotel San Marco used to be. The Hotel San Marco was the biggest, most spectacular hotel in Florida in St. Augustine in the 1800s, and miraculously burned down the same year that Henry Flagler opened his hotels. How interesting is that? So we're at the corner, and it was built to look like the old Hotel San Marco, which you can easily find photos of. And I haven't done whole videos on it, but I've certainly included it in some of my videos. Just waiting for the light here. So we're at San Marco and West Castillo. We're coming up. That's Borden Palace, the what do you call it? Oh crap, I can't think of what it's called. Ripley's. That's the Huguenot Cemetery. Here we go. So you see the Matanzas River has completely come over the wall and it has completely surrounded the Castillo de San Marcos. Look at all that water. That water is usually not there. This will also indicate that the moat is full of water, which if you know me personally, you know that that's very exciting to me. Very exciting to me. And I know from earlier photos that I saw from people that were down here that the river had come completely over the seawall and had flooded the street. So this was all underwater here not too long ago. You can kind of see, yeah, it's gone down quite a bit. I can't believe those boats stayed out there. During Hurricane Ian, there was a sailboat that was knocked off of its mooring and it crashed into the seawall there and broke apart. Oh, there is a sailboat now that has broke free and it's smashed up against a bastion. They've closed the bridge. I can't go over the bridge. Okay, wow. Okay, so this is King Street. You can see this was all underwater. There in front of us, that's the bell tower of the cathedral, and then beyond that are the two bell towers to what was the Ponce de Leon Hotel, which is now Flagler College. You see this is all boarded up. This is the old Treasury building, which I have done a video about. It's the old cathedral. This was where the slave market used to be. This is Governor's House. This was like the Capitol building during Spanish Florida. This is where the slaves were sold and where people would be hung. It was also the jail. And supposedly its proximity to Henry Flagler's hotels, right in front of us, are why Henry Flagler, we are told, built the new jail. And so now we're going to turn right on Cordova. So Cordova always floods and stays flooded because this was the old western moat. So when St. Augustine was colonial, it wasn't very big, and there were moats around all sides of it and walls. And this is where the western moat stood. Consequently, it's all filled in area that was already dug out and low, right? And see, I'm driving through a lot of standing water here. Dug out and low. Consequently, it floods like mad because there's nothing under here but concrete. Another Coquina Wonder, supposedly built by Carrere and Hastings, the architects that Flagler attribute to have building all his properties, Coquina masterpieces that no one knows how to reproduce now, all attributable, we are told, back to secrets that Franklin Wright learned. So yeah, this was all moat. Oh gosh, you know what? I don't even want to go forward. There is so much water up there. Even though I'm in an SUV, I don't want to go forward. I'm going to turn around right here. This is usually a fairly busy area. There are several, what do you call it? Airbnbs and things on this street on Cordova. And some little cafes and more than one spa. But I could drive through that, but I don't want to. This is part of why I wanted to come on my bike, but I don't want to drive through that much water again. Even though I'm high enough and can, I just don't want to. But you see, there's a lot of damage. Let's see if we turn on Carrere. See, my brakes are already unhappy. Up ahead, you can see the smokestack from Flagler College. No, we're not going to go there. My brakes are already unhappy with driving through the amount of water that I did. Let's see. We need to get off Cordova, but I wanted to show you guys. Okay, shoot. Let's go this way. Oh, see, it's so much deeper and denser. Here's the old smokestack. Edison is supposed to have been responsible for that. This is now the art building at Flagler College. I am not going to drive in the moat water anymore. Oh, shoot. Look at that. Look at how deep that water is up there. My brakes are really unhappy. Really unhappy. Oh, boy. I'm going to have to drive through some water no matter what I do. Yeah, you see what I did. I got myself in a bad spot because I wanted to show you guys stuff, but my brakes are really unhappy with me right now. All right, I'm going to have to drive through that mess. Like it or not, I'm going to have to drive through that mess a little bit. Okay, all right. Here we go. Oh, my brakes are... Do you hear my brakes? My brakes are really unhappy right now. Of course, the other problem is the wake you create, you know. Now here we've got, you know, big buildings, but when you drive down streets like this where people live, it's really shitty to do that because you're pushing wake into people's yards and potentially into their homes and in their doors. And interesting that they're doing all this reconstruction on Flagler College right now while all this is going on. There's sun to the east. So this is supposedly another Flagler property. It was the Hotel Alcazar. That was the Casa Monica originally, and then hotel that was sold to Henry Flagler because the guy who built it, Franklin Smith, who supposedly built that over there, went broke. He built the Casa Monica. There were these three huge hotels, one right in front of the other here, attracting all these people from the Northeast to come down to the Riviera of the South here. So that's Franklin Smith's Via Zarada. And Flagler ended up buying that hotel, the Cordova. It was the Casa Monica. He called it the Cordova, and it's the Casa Monica again now. Now I could turn left here and go on MLK and take you into... Oh, I have to turn. Okay, I have to turn because ahead of us is the bridge that goes over the Maria Teresa Creek, and it's flooded. The creek is on the bridge. So if I were to keep going this way, I would end up in Lincolnville, which was also known as Negro Town, where the freed blacks settled. Lowest part of the city. I'm not going over there. There was standing water yesterday, and I'm sure there are massive areas where things are blocked off. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to get out of here. I might be stuck. Oh, I might be stuck. I don't want to go that way. Okay. Yeah, saying up ahead that MLK is closed. I'm going to have to drive through water, whatever I do. See what I do, guys? See. This is why I wanted to come on my bike, but it's too windy. And you can see how flooded it was here. I don't even know what street I'm on. But this was all flooded. You can see there's crap all over the place. I wanted to go over and show you the beach side. I can't go over the Bridge Alliance, though. I might be able to go over the other bridge. If I can get to US 1, I can go over the other bridge. And this was all underwater. Now it's steamy. I had to open the windows. It's so steamy. Okay, we're here at Granada. Another flooded street. Gonna have to drive. If that little Kia Soul can drive through it, I certainly can. This is the back of the Alcazar Hotel, which is now the Lightner Museum. If that Kia can drive through there, I certainly can. That's a really cool place, Red Rose Brewing Company. Really good place, really good people, family owned. Really cool. This is all, this is all low water area here. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I'm kind of like trapped. So we're at low tide. So if you can imagine what this was like at least 3 feet ago, right? I mean, on my street alone, there was at least 3 feet more elevation than there is now. So if you can imagine what this looked like 3 feet ago. Kind of rough. All right, let's go over here again. There's the back of the, it was the Alcazar Hotel, now it's the Leitner Museum. More of Henry Flagler's, no, he didn't build it. Okay, oh, okay, this is Cordova. So this again is the Leitner Museum. Was Henry Flagler's second hotel, if you believe that. And that's the redone Casa Monica, which was Franklin Smith's hotel that Flagler purchased. Turned into the Cordova, and then it got turned back into the Casa Monica long. It was the jail for a while, for a short period of time. It was used as a temporary jail when Martin Luther King was here. Oh, look, the lights are out. When Martin Luther King was here in the park, and they were doing their, civil rights marches, this hotel, Casa Monica, was used as a temporary jail for Martin Luther King and all those people. Oh boy, the lights are out. Okay, so that building right there, that's the old slave market. Of course, people will argue vehemently. See, there was all water here, you can tell. People will argue vehemently that there were never slaves sold there. But if you read old documents, there are people that talk about watching slaves being sold there. Yeah, that's the Bridge of Lions, but it's all, you can't get to it. So, and we also can't go that way. You see, that's the way to the National Guard, and it's completely underwater. So, all right, so we have no choice but to go in this direction. We cannot go over the bridge. But you'll be able to see now, maybe you'll be able to see there is a sailboat that is not free of its mooring and is up against the bridge. I don't know if you can see that. There's a sailboat that is free of its mooring and it's jammed up against the bridge there. So we're going to come up on. Let's walk around. You know what? No one's going to care about parking. I don't even know if I brought my wallet with me to pay for parking. But let's go on in here and let's walk around the Castillo and let's look at the water. If somebody wants to argue about me not paying for parking, that's perfectly fine. They can. You see, this would have been all flooded too. I'm not paying for parking today. Okay. It's so windy. You guys might not be able to even hear what I say. Because it's so windy. But let's just take a look. Let's just take a look. So that's Castillo de San Marcos. That's the Matanzas River that had over its banks, which is why everything flooded. Can't believe they broke out the store. Crazy. Crazy. So you see those rocks right there? There's usually not river here. Support system for the seawall. I don't know if you can hear me, I'm sorry. I'm going to walk all the way there. But can you see that there's a sailboat that broke free of its mooring? Its mast broke off, and it is jammed there underneath the bridge. Can you see that? I don't want to go that way. tell where the old seawall stops and the new seawall started, right? Differences in concrete and coquina. That's usually just like a tide pool down there. Actually, not even tide pool. It's just, I mean, you could jump in and like access to when the original seawalls were built. To a variety of places like that, where there were steps for the water, and that's one of the only ones that was preserved. Let's say that is where the old Couples Bathhouse was. My understanding is Couples Bathhouse was further south, and those were this destruction right here. This is from Ian. Ian washed all this away right here. If you've never been to the Castillo de San Marcos, it's straight to come after a storm because it's not covered. It won't be covered in or idiotic reenactors. So let's walk up and see the moat. There you go. There's water in the moat once again. Vilano. There's water in the moat. All right. Let's walk around a little bit more. It's very old. So strong, it literally almost knocked that guy over. So there was more water in the moat during Ian. I think part of that was the river was over the banks for a longer period of time. I think that was part of why this was all several feet. I'm just going to quickly walk around to the other side and let you see where the river had come over the old seawall and was flooding the grounds. But, you know, I mean, if you know about star forts, then you know originally star forts were designed as water in the moat. There was water in a lot of the sacred geometry around the star fort itself. Keep in mind that when Flagler came here, not only did he take all the bells out of the churches, that's a whole nother story, free energy issues, but he destroyed all the sacred geometry here around the fort and turned it into a golf course for his clients, his hotel guests. There usually is not water in the moat here. It's usually grass. You can usually walk around it. But that doesn't very in here. So there's water standing in what had been sacred geometry, which was part of the plasma energy system that the star fort would have been. So this is kind of like giving this to Henry Flagler. There's water back here. You try to destroy it, and you kind of did, but the water finds its low spots. This is just bullshit here. There would have been water all the way around here naturally, normally. When the sacred geometry was here, that was part of the generating system that it was. Some people say that star forts were water treatment plants. If that's the case, then that makes a lot more sense for there to have been water around, right? Just think of water treatment plants now, or salinization units. No, there's usually not water there. At the end of the day, they're water there. Generally refining all to the so you see that's the old seawall there. Ancient. And several feet, the river just kind of cresting right over there. That's Water Street. This is usually grass. This thing is just bullshit. During the Spanish period and the British period, using the fort as a bastion, how they extended the wall, you can see the old original city gates right there. That's kind of indicating to you the extension of that from the fort. That's Orange Street, which would have been the northernmost part of the original city limits of walled St. Augustine, the original colonial part of St. Augustine. And that's the Huguenot Cemetery, which was built because there were so many people dying during the yellow fever outbreak, and I don't remember the date. But there's a lot you can read online about it, and I did a video about the Huguenot Cemetery, and you can look at that too. The dead bodies of people who had died from yellow fever were literally backing up in piles along the city gates, and so the city decided to build another cemetery. And the term Huguenot here in northeastern Florida does not necessarily refer to what we traditionally think of as the French Huguenots, but simply the term that referred to people who weren't Catholic. Huguenot just meant not Catholic. And if you and follow some other people's research, specifically Caramel Ahu or Dean Carroll and the likes of those gentlemen, you might interestingly learn that Catholic, they were probably swarthy, Moorish, melanated peoples. So you can see this is very, very local community. Very, very old. Very, very old. And that this is the River Coquina here on top. And if I could get over the bridge, I could show you where this coquina supposedly was quarried from the King's Quarry, which is in the area now set aside as a state park. It's such a national park. You get a back view here of the Treasury Building. Bell Tower to the Cathedral, and the bell towers to Flagler College. Of course, bells are part of a free energy distribution system. So what did Flagler do? He took out all the bells. Of course he did. Of course he did. far as to telling churches that had already been built or built after he built his properties, or I should say his properties, that they couldn't have bells in their churches either. Because bells distribute the plasma that is activated by water hitting 90-degree angles of structures that are so but that's another story. So, back up the car here. I don't know what, if any, of that you heard because it's so windy. It's kind of cool. There's so many people walking their dogs, and the dogs are so excited. I'm going to put the phone down for a second so I can put on my seatbelt. Let's see where I can go. I'm not sure where I can go. I'm not sure where I can go. We'll find out. Oh, you know what? Let me plug this back in. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, my brakes are still yelling at me for driving through the water like that. They're not happy. Okay, so we're leaving the parking lot of Castillo de San Marcos. I am not driving through Old Town anymore. My brakes are so mad at me. Let's go. Let's see if we can turn left on Castillo and go up to US 1. And let's go west of Old Town. Okay, there's the Huguenot Cemetery once again. Orange Street, the old original city wall. Yellow fever, non-Catholic people. There's actually no one knows how many bodies are buried there. I mean, they have the, oh, and that's Ripley's Believe It or Not, which is the old Warden Winter House. Okay, and we're driving past the Castillo Hotel, which was designed to look like, oh, I can't get up, I can't go through there. See, there's a cop, okay, I can't go through there. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out something else. This was designed to look like the old Hotel San Marco. So I can't go through. Oh, I can see. See, this was all a moat, and wherever it was a moat, obviously the water likes to gather. So that was totally illegal, but I don't think the cop cares. That's all part of the culverting there, because water doesn't move through here properly, because underneath here there was a moat that was dug, so water won't move organically here. That was the first Ripley's. Whole story behind the guy who had that. One of Flagler's business partners, that was his house. Again, it was one of those buildings that was built out of coquina, which is a combination of standard concrete and coquina, which is like a shell limestone that we have here, and it's indestructible. That building burned at least once. The inside was damaged and destroyed, but of course the coquina didn't burn. So now I could turn left any point and try to then turn left onto US 1, but usually that's a really hard thing to do because of traffic. So I'm just going to go all the way on up to San Carlos, which is not that far, and make a left turn there because there's light. See, there was water there. Here again, we're coming by the crosses are for all the aborted babies. That's the Great Cross, and this is the Nombre de Dios and Our Lady of la Leche and all that stuff. This was also where Siloy was, which was Menendez de Avila's first fortress when he supposedly stuck his claim here and claimed this land for Spain. Again, And there's my liquor store that never closed during Ian and didn't close here because, as you can see, this street didn't flood. So we're going to go back up to San Carlos and turn left to go onto US 1. And again, San Carlos was that secondary wall, the Hornbeck Hangbank Hornworks, called Horn because it was built all spiky, built as an earthworks with, it's a traffic circle, so you can't make a left, you got to do all this weirdness. See how it's low? Yeah, this was the Hornbank. This was the secondary wall that was built to, after Oglethorpe and White came down when this was still Spain and attacked Siloy, which is now Our Lady of La Leche, where the cross is. That was Siloy. They came down here from the north. We're looking north. They came down from the north, from Georgia and the Carolinas. They attacked. They laid siege on what was the city and burned it, but didn't take it. This is the other side of the deaf and blind school, where Ray Charles went to school and learned to be a functioning adult. So the secondary wall that was built after Oglethorpe and White came down and burned down Siloy and laid siege on the city. One of the times the city's burned, they built that wall. And it's not in a whole lot of history, interestingly enough. I'm not sure why. I'm just going to go up to 16 to make the left, to then turn left back onto US 1. If I keep going on this road, I will end up in Jacksonville. And I've taken this way to Jacksonville many times. So here we're coming up on US 1, Ponce de Leon Avenue. See, US 1, north and south. We're going to go south. The road that we were on eventually turns into US 1. That's why I said US 1. If you go north on US 1, I'll end up in Jacksonville, and you could keep going technically all the way to Maine. You might be able to go farther than Maine. I'm not sure. Oh, thank you. That very nice guy just told me that my spare tire cover thing blew off. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just one of those clock ones. Okay, so we're on US 1, and we're heading south. We keep going for 50 miles. See, we'll end up in Daytona. Daytona is bad. Daytona is the first place I lived in Florida, and Daytona is wrecked right now. Wrecked. They had to evacuate a whole bunch of high-rise condos on the beach. There are houses that are falling apart and falling into the Atlantic Ocean because the storm surge is washing the beach away. But then, you get into, don't get me started on how stupid it is to build a house, or even stupider is build a high-rise condo right on the beach. That's pretty stupid, if you ask me. So there's the San Sebastian River, which is usually not quite that high, coming out of its banks. Yeah. Okay. So San Carlos, that's where the Hornbank was. San Carlos, between would have been, when we went over the bridge before. So that marshland there, between that marshland there at the Tolomar River and the San Sebastian River, San Carlos, what we now call San Carlos, is the narrowest place there, and that's where they built the Hornbank. So there's the San Sebastian River again, which normally is not that high. See, there's usually grassland and marshland there, and see, the river 3 or 4 feet ago was all the way up to the wall. Not the concrete wall, but you see that that barricade barricade that's built there, black barricade, yeah, it spilled over its banks into the grassland all the way up to there. This has been a nightmare. All this stuff that they're doing here, absolute nightmare. I think they're trying to expand it. Oh crap, look at that. See, that's Orange Street. Did you see all that flooding? That's why I couldn't drive any further on Orange Street. That's the old moat. Water doesn't move properly through the old moats. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we're gonna be going over the San Sebastian River, and then we're gonna come up on King Street. And King Street, the King Street Bridge goes over the Santa Teresa Creek, which we couldn't go on because the creek is on the bridge. But right now we're going over the San Sebastian River, which is normally not this high. Okay, it's gone down a bit. Like I said, we're at low tide now. If you can believe this, this is low tide. Imagine 3 or 4 feet ago. 3 or 4 feet ago. That's King Street. They still have it blocked off, and there's still standing water, though I was able to look, and the creek is not over the bridge, but there's still low places where the water is still standing, so the sheriffs have it such that you can't get there, and that's good. You know what? I'm going to take you on a bit of a diversion. If you watch my videos, you know that I spend a lot of time at the abandoned black cemeteries back here in West St. Augustine, the the quote-unquote wrong side of the tracks, right? There was a black college back here. Zora Neale Hurston taught here. The second black university in the state of Florida was back here. They had to leave the city after Martin Luther King was here. They had to leave. The whole college had to up and leave. The whole university had to up and leave. And shortly after that, it burned. Isn't that a strange coincidence? It burned. What remains is a, what do you call it? Like the arches for when you went in, saying, Florida Memorial University, they kept the arches. And if I take you that far, we'll go past there. But what I wanted to do is back here, I wanted to take you past where the cemeteries are, because it always gets hit with water bad back there. And I was just recently at the San Sebastian and the Pinehurst, which are the most decrepit abandoned cemeteries in St. Augustine. Actually, the man who built the property that was specifically for Moorish building, segregated cemetery, he passed away in the 70s, and the property has been abandoned ever since. And it is maintained simply by the families of the deceased and neighboring churches. So this is all West St. Augustine, West King, wrong side of the tracks, where the poor black folk live. So it goes, right? So we're going to go back here, if I can get back here. And I'm going to take you, I'm not going to go into the cemeteries, but take you past there, because I was just here last week and just did a video back here last week about the cemeteries. Again, I've done more than one video on those cemeteries. I've been going to a lot of abandoned black cemeteries lately. I've been really called. The ones in Jacksonville are just, oh my God, they're unbelievably heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. So this is Rodriguez, and it kind of weaves and turns, and how roads turn and they become another street. So here it's Rodriguez, but when we turn, not even turn, just kind of go around a curve, it becomes Pearl. So, okay, so this very nice cemetery here, this is the Evergreen Cemetery. Oh, and it's open. And this is the first cemetery that was built outside the city limits for the Catholic. When the Catholic cemetery in the city filled up. It's a massive cemetery. Doesn't matter if you're black or white or Hispanic or whatever, you just had to be well, I guess you could be Catholic and Protestant and buried here. But now, what's really sad is that there's this really well-kept cemetery here. Really, really, really. You see, it's really well-kept. Really well-kept. And there are black folk in here too. It's really, really, really well-kept. Beautiful. And then you cross a tree line and you come to the abandoned black cemeteries. Pretty heartbreaking. Oh, yeah. See, some trees fell down during Ian. And it looks like, yep, there's a tree that's down from this storm too. Now, you cross this tree line and here you are at the Pinehurst and the San Sebastian, which are not so well cared for. They are only cared for by the families of the deceased and neighboring churches. Pretty sad, right? So, right there, that stone right there, that man was born a slave. And there are at least 3 more that are laid to rest here. See, there isn't even a sidewalk. It's completely heartbreaking. Look at that. It's just open. It's just open. There are at least 3 other souls buried there that were born slaves. And just completely derelict. So I'm going to go down, since I'm going this way, and I'll drive you past. You can see there was a lot of water here, a lot of fallen stuff out of trees, but I'm going to take you down to where the old black college, Florida Memorial University, stood. There is another abandoned black cemetery, but I have a feeling that it's completely underwater. I'm not even going to go over there. That one doesn't even have a sign or a fence or anything. And what's even more heartbreaking about that is the gentleman who was the president of Florida Memorial University, the second black university in the state of Florida, he's buried there with his wife, and that is a completely, oh God. It doesn't even have a fence, it doesn't have a sign, it doesn't have anything. On a lot of maps, it's not even listed as a cemetery, and a man of that historical stature is buried in a place like that, and there's no heartbreaking. So we're back on West King, and I'm going to go down here, and I'll take you past what's left of Florida Memorial University, which, interestingly, I found out only because I drove past the street sign. They used to have a sanitarium on the property, and I looked and looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't find anything about that. Fascinating. I was like, oh my God, there was a sanitarium here? What did they do with that sanitarium? Who did they put in the sanitarium? Let's just say it was a black college, and leave it at that. Some more Moorish architecture there. That's a fire station. What we passed before was water treatment facilities. Of course it is. Okay. Fire station. Moorish building. Here we're going to go past what was the old entrance to Florida Memorial University. And one of the stops for the St. John's Railway. That's all that remains. The second black university in the state of Florida. Zora Neale Hurston taught here. When you see those red historical markers in Florida, that indicates that it's something from the, civil rights history. That's what those mean. And here's what I was talking about. Sanitarium Drive. What do you think about that? Now, I know that one of the things that this college did was it was a normal school, meaning that it taught black teachers. And, you know, the normal school growth in Florida was so important because, you know, they had to train black teachers to train black kids, right? Because their parents had been slaves, right? In many cases, the parents couldn't teach them anything, right? They couldn't teach them those things that the white kids knew. So the whole development of black colleges to train black teachers to teach black kids, who would then, go home and teach their parents how to read or whatever. So yeah, this was a key important part in that, and the author Zora Neale Hurston was an important part of that. So we're back on King. Normally you can't make all these left turns around here. It's pretty busy. Back behind where we just were, it is still a school. It's an elementary school. So that all would have been part of that property. And if you're interested in that, there's a lot online that you can look at, certainly. But I also did a video about that university, that college, and the civil rights, some of the civil rights history in St. Augustine. A lot more significant than people realize. So was Jacksonville, actually. And that's a video that I'm working on now, is the significance of freed black people in Jacksonville, how much of the city they built, how important a part of the whole Florida economy they were, and the fact that there are like 6 black cemeteries that are completely derelict is, my God. The worst part about that is some of them back in the day were owned by black corporations that went bankrupt or were forced into bankruptcy. Who knows, right? So they were being maintained when they were owned by black corporations. And then when those companies went bankrupt, filed for insolvency, and the state took them over, they went to shit. And so, heartbreaking. So we're going to go back to King Street, and or we're on King Street. We're going to go up to US 1, which is Ponce de Leon Avenue, and I'm going to go right toward westward, and I'm going to try to go over the other bridge and take you over to the beach side, if I can. Whatever I drive through, it's not going to be as bad as what was in Old Town, or what was out my front door about 3 hours ago, which was knee-high water. Oh, Moorish, Tartarian, Moorish. Yeah, water treatment plant. Okay. All right, so let's see. Uh-oh, that's the water treatment plant. Look, you see there's water. Something's screwy's going on there. There's just water shooting. There is a cool, this whole area, unfortunately, is being gentrified. Like, what else is new, right? But there is, here in one of these historic buildings, there is a cool building called the Refillery. And so it's a bulk store. So, you bring in your own containers. It's right there, the local Refillery, where it says cultivate. Yeah, so it's a bulk store. So, you bring in your own containers, all that. Now, straight ahead, okay, so that's US 1 crossing. Straight ahead is Old Town. You can see that building that's right in front of us. That's part of, those 3 buildings, that's part of what was Flagler's railway station. And I can see that most of the standing water had been cleared away. It just, it went away as tide went out. But they've still got the street blocked off, and that's good. So we're on US 1 now. We're headed to the part of town, where like normal town things are, like Walmart and Target and Home Depot and all that stuff. That body of water is usually not standing on the road as it is now. Those masts on those sailboats there are usually not quite that high because the water is not usually quite that high. I'm going to try. There's another bridge access to take us over the Intercoastal Waterway. Yeah, that's all part of the Intercoastal Waterway system there. And I'm going to, well, I can certainly go over the bridge because it's a high bridge. And we'll see if we can get onto the beach side and show you some things over there. So this is just like the normal part of town, you know, Hannah's Stone, Winn-Dixie grocery store, churches, doctor's offices, all that just kind of normal stuff. I see that there may have been some comments. I'm sorry, I'm driving. I can't see what you're saying. Sorry, I apologize. Oh my God, Target's open. Either Target is open or people park their cars there. That's wild. Holy cow. Holy cow. So they keep Target open the day a hurricane hits the city. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, my brakes are not screaming anymore. That's very nice. I'm going to be making a left up here to go over the river to take you beachside, which is probably fairly limited. Beachside's all pretty low, but we'll see what we can see. And here we go. This is 312, State Road 312, eastbound. So that bridge up there goes over the Intercoastal Waterway, which is, at this point, it's the Matanzas River, which is the same body of water that goes past downtown St. Augustine and past the Castillo de San Marcos. Same body of water. On the other side of here is what's called St. Augustine Beach. Oh, look, it's roseate spoonbills. Oh my gosh. Those are not flamingos. Those pink birds are roseate spoonbills. I don't know if you can see those or not. Not flamingos. That's Matanzas River. Very high. Yeah, we have pink birds here. People think they're flamingos, but they're roseate spoonbills. They're not flamingos. Flamingos don't come this far north. All right. Looking toward town. All those boats out there. I can't believe how many boats rode this out. Now, you might see some more roseate spoonbills on this side. Let's see. If you see pink birds, it's roseate spoonbills. This is a place where they often hang out. No, I didn't see any. I just saw herons. All right. Rolling, rolling, rolling. We're on the beach side now. How much of this is legit and how much of this is landfill? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I think a lot of this is landfill. Only because of the way that things flood over here. People who live here and all the retention ponds. If there weren't so many needs for reclamation of water and redirection of water, then it would be legit land, right? If it was legit land, you wouldn't need to do all this reclamation, right? Isn't that how that works? Right? Or if there wasn't so much concrete that there was nowhere for the water to go, you wouldn't have to do so much reclamation, right? So the power's out over here. You see how that was blinking? Oh, but up ahead the light's working. Oh, that sign has been completely ripped away. Good eating for the herons, I'm telling you. Good eating for the herons. Oh, there's a whole bunch. Well, those are ibis, not herons. We've got herons here. Ooh, that's a stork. Okay, I'm getting a public, I'm getting a public safety message. Oh, that's Jacksonville. Okay. So, see, the sky's blue here. But Jacksonville, the city north, is getting, what do you call it? National Weather Service messages. That's just what came through on my phone. I don't know, you might have heard that. So anyway, now we're headed toward the beach, literally toward the beach. I don't know how close I'm going to get or what I'm going to be able to show you, but I will do my best. I'm kind of retracing most of the steps that I took you guys on yesterday when I showed you St. Augustine the day before Nicole hit. Going to come around the bend and then we're going to be coming up on the beach. Now this over here, most of this is state property, Anastasia State Park. The old name of this area was Anastasia Island, and back considerably in there, miles north of there was where the King quarries were, where the coquina was quarried for most of what you see standing in St. Augustine. So you see we're coming up on the sand dunes. That's the Embassy Suites and the St. Augustine Surf Cam, St. Augustine Pier Beach Cam. It sits on the top of this building. So if you go online to St. Augustine Beach Cams or Florida Beach Cams and you choose the St. Augustine Pier, the view that you're seeing is from the top of this building. Because it's right, and see, I think they evacuated everybody. Yeah, they evacuated everybody from this hotel. See, the water was on the road here. The water was on the road. They're not going to let me. They're not even going to let me drive in. That's the access to the pier there, and they're not even going to let me drive in. See, it's all blocked off, and you can't even drive in. So yeah, yeah. I can tell you. The ocean was crashing over the seawall. And I know that because I was watching a beach cam there earlier this morning. Literally was washing over the beach, crashing over the seawall. Okay, so that sucks. I wasn't able to get closer to that and show you that. But this is beachside. This is as close as you can get to the Atlantic Ocean in St. Augustine. Friend of mine who doesn't live here anymore, but he used to, and he lived over here, and he was an avid surfer, and he said most of beachside is a surf ghetto. People just that love to surf. Let me go ahead and let me make a left, let me make a random left. Well, not there. Oh crap, I could have gone there. Okay, let's go here. Let's see, I don't know these streets at all. So, yeah, it's a dead-end street. I can't really park there, but the beach and the ocean are just on the other side of there. But if it were not for these sand dunes, this would all be gone. All of it. All of it. These homeowners are really dependent on those sand dunes. I can tell you that. But that's kind of what I was talking about, like, you know, how everything's being torn up, how everything has been torn up in Daytona Beach because people built their houses on the beach hoping that the sand dunes stayed, and they're being washed away. Ian washed a lot of them away. Now this storm washed more of them away. Up north of here on Vilano Beach, there are whole sections where lots of square footage of sand dune, you know, was taken away, and that made the houses that were foolishly built there hopelessly vulnerable. I don't like it over here. I don't come over here unless I have to. I'm not a beachside person. It's so touristy over here too. Oh, St. Augustine Beach. This is where everybody goes. If I really want some sunlight or I want to see the ocean, I go over where I took you before to Vilano Beach, which is just minutes from my house. It's not as popular of a beach. Part of it because the beach itself is, there's not as much beach between the road and the ocean as there is here. Normally this beach is very wide. Like St. Augustine Beach, I'm like Daytona Beach, it's very wide. Part of why Vilano Beach is so shallow is because it's fake. It's all filled in. Because the access, which is now your access from the ocean into St. Augustine, didn't used to be there. It used to be all shoaly and marshy there, and the way that you used to be able to get into St. Augustine was coming through Matanzas Inlet, which is south of here, and coming up the Matanzas River, and that's how you used to be able to come in. But Army Corps of Engineers went in there and dredged the hell out of Vilano and turned it into a cut so vessels could get through, and now that's what's maintained. And so the consequence of that is they've completely disrupted the water flow, and so they have to shore up and nourish that beach and shoreline because it's fake. It's not supposed to be beach. It's supposed to be marshy. It's all fake. And so it blows away like mad or washes away like mad when there's a storm. Everybody's shopping. Publix is a grocery store. Everybody's shopping today. Beachside. St. Augustine Beach is known to be where the rich folk live here. And that was the rich folk grocery store. So, let's see. Let's keep going south. So here we're both on A1A. A1A is a coast road that takes you literally from the most southern point of the U.S. at Key West, all the way up to, it used to go all the way up to Halifax, Newfoundland. I don't know if that's the case. It certainly goes to Maine. Just waiting for the light. We'll go up to Matanzas Inlet if we can get up that high. I went up there yesterday. I was going to go farther south, but even yesterday at I think it was I was around between 2 and 3 when I was driving yesterday. And the ocean was already on the road, this road south of here. So the sheriffs were parked, blocking the road. You couldn't go. Well, somebody like me couldn't go. If I lived there, certainly I could go. Winn-Dixie, that's also a grocery store. People are shopping, people are shopping. So, all you're going to see for a bit here is just road, but I want to take you up to Matanzas Inlet. Now, Matanzas Inlet is the way that you used to, on a galleon or a clipper or whatever, that was the way you came into St. Augustine before they dredged everything at Vilano and made that the way in. Matanzas was the way in, and that's why they built Fort Matanzas there as a fortification. That was the way in and out of St. Augustine, and Fort Matanzas is also where, thereabouts, the slaughter of the French occurred. So, you had these French emigres who left France. I think it was on 5 ships. They were Protestant, simply meaning not Catholic, left France for the New World to seek religious freedom. It was Spanish at the time. This land was Spanish at the time, and they left. It was actually in that time. It wasn't St. Augustine wasn't well established yet, and they landed north of here in what is now Fort Caroline, an old star fort that I've been to numerous times. And they were just trying to get away, from they weren't Catholic and they were being persecuted, and so they got on ships and they came over here with Jean Rebot, and there was a few hundred of them, men, women, and children, and they built a town, a fortification there at what it now Fort Caroline, and then of course, so the Catholic Church came after them, right? Let's see, was it Philip? Was it King Philip? Tasked Menendez de Avila, the man who's credited with establishing St. Augustine, with either converting them to Catholicism or killing them, which is the same task that he was given for the Timucuan, the indigenous people that were here, who were giants. They were 8 and 9 feet tall. They wiped them out in less than 200 years. What was left, those that were left went to Cuba at one point. But anyway, so Menendez de Avila and his pigs attacked this compound of people, men, women, and children, that were just sleeping in their fortress at their town, at what is now Fort Caroline, and killed most of them. And there were some that got away, and they came down here then and waited for them at the mouth of where the Matanzas River meets the Atlantic Ocean, and slaughtered the rest. Nice, right? Can't get away from the Catholic Church. It's just impossible. Anyway, so Fort Matanzas is where that happened, where the Matanzas River, and Matanzas means slaughter in Spanish, so that should tell you something. A lot of standing water here. Yeah, the ocean would have been on the road here, I assure you. We're coming up on Fort Matanzas. It's going to be on this side. The actual fort is in this direction. The entrance to it is in this direction. And then we're going to go over the bridge that goes over Matanzas Inlet. So, this all did not fare very well. Were it not for those culverts, right? There'd be water everywhere. Now, up here, the beach at Fort Matanzas, there were extensive walkways, and they were all chewed up during Ian. Look at all that water. And they hadn't had a chance to rebuild them, so the beach access there is closed. Ooh, look at all that standing water. Holy cow. So that whole parking lot, the normally parking coach there is cut off. Okay. All that water is usually not there. Wow. You know what? We passed Fort Matanzas. I'm sorry. I was running my mouth and looking at all the standing water. Sorry about that. But you know what? Let me go up here. And let's turn into Crescent Beach. And if it's not too windy and the walkway still exists, I'll walk you out to the beach here if I can get to it. Holy cow, there's a lot of cars. Okay, so there's a lot of people doing what I'm thinking of doing. They're walking out to the beach. So let's take a look. It's not quite as windy here. Okay, let's take a look. Let's walk out and see the ocean. All right, excuse me for a second while I disengage myself. Oh yeah, nowhere near as windy. So this is Crescent Beach. So we're south of St. Augustine proper. And actually, honestly, if you were to come to St. Augustine and say, well, where should I go for the day? I would actually send you here. I would send you to Crescent Beach. I wouldn't send you to Augustine Beach. I wouldn't send you, there's people coming over the walkway, so I'm letting them go behind the See, the sand dunes are totally protecting these. When the ocean gets high enough to push these away, everybody is screwed. Oh my God! People coming at me, turn the camera away. It's been washed. Yeah, but see, these sand dunes are protecting everything. Everybody's crazy. It's completely washed away. Oh my God, look at this. There was a walkway there at Stanley's. And all of that erosion. Oh, and there's the stairs. There's the stairs. There were people that were right behind me, filming me, filming. I don't understand people that do that. Okay, there's the ocean. I can't believe that much under people right behind me, filming me, filming. Anyway, yeah, the sand dunes washed away. Destroyed. I'm going to put the phone down so I can put on my seatbelt and all that stuff for a second. You know, I just got to say, if I was walking up and I saw somebody at the end of the dock and they were taking pictures and filming, especially if they were filming, I wouldn't walk up right behind them and take pictures. My God, how fucking rude. I don't understand. Okay. So let's go over. Let's go to Matanzas Inlet. All right. Just up here a little bit more is Matanzas Inlet. See all the culverts. It would be scary to be in a trailer on the beachside when the water's rising around you, right? And the wind is ripping. I don't know how strong the wind is here. I know the wind did a lot of damage south in here in both. Oh my God. Have you guys seen Massive damage has been done to piers all along the Florida coast, all the way down. There was a pier in Lauderdale by the sea, I believe, that literally was broken in half. Like there was a section in the center of the pier that's gone. And then there are piers that, have had the ends tore off. Now, Hurricane Ian shredded the end of the Flagler Pier in Flagler Beach. And what I was looking at this morning from the beach cam at Flagler Pier is that this storm did a lot more to it. But all the way down, and there are piers that are on rivers too. Rivers that are like in bays and things south of here, and they've also been shredded. Down all around Cocoa, which is near Canaveral, where NASA is, there's a lot of water down there, and that's all been pretty tore up. A lot of standing water here. Sorry, this guy in front of me is going really slow. Hey Martha, let's look at the water and let's go really slow and look at the water. Let's look at the water and go really slow. So we're coming up now on the right side. You're going to see the Matanzas River. So yesterday when I came here, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the river was up to the sidewalk there. So again, we're at low tide. We're at outgoing tide. Actually, I think 3:45 is the peak of outgoing tide, which means the tide's going to start coming in within the next hour, which means I need to get back home within the next hour. Because though it hasn't rained, when the tide comes in, that's when my neighborhood floods. And I'd already decided that if the water gets as high as it did earlier today at high tide, which was a little before 10 a.m., I'm not going to park my car in my driveway. I'm going to park it across the street. There's a high area over there across the main street, across US 1, where there's a barbecue restaurant, and it appears that several people parked there last night, like people like me in the neighborhood. That's very common. People park their car on high ground, and that's something that I'll do because you can't really see the water at night. If I wake up in the middle of the night and I look out my window, you can't really see the water. And then you don't want to drive in flood water in the dark because you don't know what's in the water, right? You don't know what you're driving over. All kinds of obstacles you could be driving over. In a car that's high like mine, the height of the water isn't the issue. The risk and the danger of what's in it is the issue. Which is why when I lived in Daytona Beach, a block from the beach, I always marveled at the guys that were surfing in this kind of water. Like, what are you doing? You don't even know what's in that water, and you're surfing in it? You're pretty stupid. You don't know what's underneath your feet and your legs because the beach is all gone. You don't know what has... Yeah, people are stupid. Anyway. We're coming up on Matanzas Inlet. I know this is boring. Sorry. I know it's boring. This is a little more water activity than I saw yesterday in the afternoon. Coming up here, I think I'll just open both the windows so you can see straight out the windows. And I lied when I said that we passed Fort Matanzas. I totally was dorking out. We have not passed Fort Matanzas. We're coming up to it now. It's right over here on this side. You won't see the fort. You'll just see the entrance in Fort Matanzas National Monument. It's right in there. And this is all Port Matanzas Beach, but I don't think you can get to it because all the walkways were destroyed. But now we're going to go over Matanzas Inlet. So this used to be the way into St. Augustine. I got the windows open so it's windy. Oh, they opened it back up. Okay, that's the beach access. This is the inlet side access. Water's high, but it wasn't as high as it was last night. You couldn't see any of that marsh last night. You couldn't see any of that marsh last night. It was all in the water. There's the Atlantic Ocean. So yeah, we're definitely at outgoing tide. Oh, there's standing water on the road right in front of us. Okay, rolling my windows up. Yeah. Gonna need two hands here. Oh, look at all that. Okay. Yeah. Gonna make an immediate turn. Oh, and there's an emergency vehicle ahead, so actually you can't go any further. It doesn't look like you can go any further. There's an emergency vehicle up ahead. Look at all that. Okay, I'm gonna return back as soon as I can. I always wonder about cars that are really high and safe, and they're not even driving through standing water, but they're going so goddamn slow. Like, just go! You're not even driving through water. You're being a looky-loo. Oh my God. I grew up with a river in my backyard, and every spring the river would flood out where I grew up, and all the houses were built up on berms or built up on stilts. We had a levee in the front yard, and there was a river, not right in the backyard, but behind our property. So when the river would flood, it would come up in our yards, and there would be all these people that would come out, and they would, oh, the river's flooding out in the area. There's Matanzas Beach right there. Let's see, Atlantic Ocean. And people would come out and just look at all the flood, and create all kinds of problems. And that's what these people are doing. What you're just, people actually have to drive these roads. I'm being a looky-loo now myself, but I'm not driving so slow that I'm creating an option. Do you see that houseboat out there? That houseboat was out there the whole time. I don't know if you can see it. That houseboat was out there the whole time. Because yesterday when I came out here, they were out there, and the wind was whipping up and all that stuff. And yeah, anyway, so I don't mind people, if you want to come look at, the flood damage, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not going to say don't do it. I mean, we're human beings and we're interested, and I'm doing the same thing. But don't drive slow and create an obstacle. You see, there were two cars behind me that wanted to also make U-turns, and these cars that were tall enough to drive through the water were just going like 25 miles an hour, taking their time, because they're looking all around. Oh, look, Martha. Try the speed limit. Oh. That was exciting. Wow. That was exciting. I was blinded for a second there. Holy cow. My car sure is clean. See, look at this. This car is taller than me, but he's going through it like 2 miles an hour. Like, dude, you can just go through it. You're taller than me. Is it because it's a Lexus? I don't know. I'm just in a Toyota. I don't know. Come on. Well, so far, the only damage that I have incurred is the cover that was on my spare tire, which was just a canvas thing, blew away. That's the only damage I've incurred so far. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So yeah, there isn't usually standing water like this. Oh, who just texted me? Andrews at Room the Third just texted me. Bro, I can't read it. I'm driving. So I think I'll take you back and drive you around the lighthouse, and that'll probably be the end of it, because we're gonna, we're going into incoming tide, and that means I really have to assess what's going on water-wise down by where I live. Might have to move my car across the street for the night. There again is the Matanzas River, bursting over its banks, and as I said yesterday when I came here, that river was up to the sidewalk. So it's gone down a bit, but it is certain to come back up. And I don't know where the eye wall I think is way west, like Tampa and all of that is kind of getting slaughtered right now. I think it's 4 o'clock. Tampa and all that's getting slaughtered, and then last estimated trajectory I saw, it's supposed to come back in eastward, go up into Georgia, which means we potentially could get hit again, because then that would put us on the upward spin of the eye wall, which is bad. That's the side where all the energy is building. You do not want to be on that side. I'm such a pain in the ass. See, up in front of us, there's a freaking GMC thing, suburban, massive thing, right? He could drive through a fucking riverbed, and he's going as slow as can be. Like, dude, you could drive through these flooded culverts. Why are you going so slow? Oh my God. Seriously. I think I don't know if I want to go to Lighthouse or I want to turn. Yeah, I'll go past the Lighthouse. So I'll stay on A1A. I was going to cross over the 206 bridge, which would have taken you over the Matanzas River. But if you've never seen the Matanzas River from the 206 bridge, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't go, oh my God, the river's so high. You wouldn't know because you hadn't seen it. So I'll just stay on A1A and I'll take you around the lighthouse and we'll see what things look like up there. If I can just get past these people who are like, oh, now he's speeding up. Okay, good. Suburban is speeding up now. And the Lexus is afraid to get his car wet. It's going slow. Okay, all right. So I didn't lose power this time at all. During Ian, I had several times where the light, on this day, on the actual storm day, the light flickered a couple times, and I think I was out of power for maybe 5 minutes. And there were several flickers, but there was no interruption of power whatsoever this time. But, if that trajectory is right, that the storm is coming back eastward, then we could get hit worse when it comes back. I'll have to see when I get home what the spaghetti models are saying now. Yeah, all these homes right here, if it were not for all that sand dune stuff that we saw, none of these houses could be here. They'd all be gone. And that's why it's so stupid that there are houses even built there. How vulnerable they are to be there. Because what's happening in places like Flagler Beach in Volusia County, which is the county that Daytona's in, is it's all being washed away. And so their homes are literally falling into the ocean. There was one that I saw today. It was a big, nice home, like one of these stupid, big, nice homes. And they had a pool. And you see how all the foundation under the pool has given way. And of course, all the water in the pool dumped out into the ocean. And the pool broke in half, like the Titanic. The pool broke in half. And there was a part of the pool that you could see that was like the pool. And then the part of the pool that broke away because all the sand underneath it washed away was like, people are so stupid. Why do you build a house on the ocean and then build a pool? I don't understand. See, I think Gaia is taking back what's hers from the people that are too stupid to even realize the resources that they have responsibility for. And don't get me started on all the hotels and high-rise condos in Daytona that still are being built, even though no one's going there and buying anything, because they're all money laundering arbitrage pits, I'm quite sure. When they get to claim all their damage, right? And get paid out for all their damage. No one's buying anything in Daytona anymore. Not that kind of stuff. People buy homes, not beachside condos. And yet they keep building them. So if that's not arbitrage and money laundering, I really don't know what is. But Daytona is the land of NASCAR, right? The world's most famous beach where NASCAR began. And the family that instituted all that, I won't name the family, they own that town. They own that town. They own a lot of that county, too. Yep, that's all I'm going to say about that. I already get the Flagler people trolling me, because how dare I say anything derogatory about the great Lord Henry Flagler? How dare I? How dare I offer a differing opinion? How dare I say that what is written in stone, like the Ten Commandments written in stone, about all the things that Henry Flagler did? And I say, well, actually, if you look here, that doesn't appear to be the case. Yeah, so I get trolled by the Flagler people. And that's okay. I don't want to be trolled by the NASCAR people. I don't want to go down that road. It was worse when I lived there. So we're back in A1A. We're headed north on A1A back toward the town of St. Augustine. We're on the beach side, so yeah, the beach is just over there. And we're going to go down around the Lighthouse. And then I'll take you back into Davis Shores if I can, which was the first, community during the Florida land boom. Davis Shores, the buildings, the houses, the communities that were built over here before they were bridges or anything. when this was all Anastasia Island. Um, the first development was Davis Shores, and a lot of it is landfill, and it's low, and consequently stuff gets kind of tore up. So had I gone that way, if you saw there was a turn to the right, then I would have gone along the beach, but we already did that. I'm staying on the main A1A road, which you didn't see before, which still gets pretty floody. Yeah, and this is all what constitutes Anastasia Island, Anastasia. Technically, it's, an annexed part of St. Augustine, but this region is referred to as Anastasia. And a lot of this is here. This was all cypress swamp. If you drive around in the back roads, you're going to see a lot of canals and reclamation ponds and things, because this all had to be drained for the buildings to be here. Things like that. There's reclamation ponds everywhere around here because this all had to be drained, because it is all cypress swamp. For this to be built was quite an undertaking, but that was all part of that Florida land boom that crashed, which changed a lot of things. So this is all fake. That's part of why it floods the way it does. Go back into some of these streets back here. I know some people that live right back in here. It's very low, and there's all kinds of just natural creeks and waterways all over, because that's what it was like. See how it goes down there just naturally? This was all built up because this is all filled and fake. But way back here, there's all kinds of natural just creeks and ponds and bodies of water, because that's what all this was. This was all just cypress swamp. You see how low that is, how that goes down? Yeah, so that was a big drainage area back there. Oh, and actually back there, I should have turned and shown you, but I'm not going to turn around now. There's an old home there that was supposedly a home of one of the foremen at the quarry, the coquina quarries. And all that's left of the home is an old coquina chimney. And there's a real quick video that I did about that. It's only about a 15-minute long video or so. So it is believed that that's where the quarry master lived, and it's just an old piece of that history. And all around it are all these creeks and ponds, and everything over here. This is all fake, all dredged up and filled in. This was all cypress trees, natural pine and cypress. This was a lot of, not so much here, but out west of here. Turpentine from the trees was a huge crop. So we're coming up on the lighthouse. I don't know if you can see. And I'm going to drive back there for you. Oh, big branch went down. A lot of damage here. amphitheater is right back in here, and on Saturday they have the most amazing farmers market in there. But as is often the case with things like that, is you can't even freaking. There's not ever enough parking. You know, you spend 20 minutes driving around looking for a parking place to then shop for 15 minutes. You know how that works. But it's a great farmers market. So we're coming up on the entrance to Anastasia National State Park, which is closed now. It was closed yesterday. The barricades were up. But I'm going to drive you back around the lighthouse. So if we went like this dummy back here, and if it was open, we could go to Anastasia National Park, but we can't because it's not open. It's not open. Oh, look at all the water that was here. Oh, cool. Kids are skateboarding again. They don't care. Yeah, see, I was talking about this. A lot of people just pulled their boats out of the water completely. And that was smart. That was smart. So, lighthouse is going to be on this side. And this is the second lighthouse. The first lighthouse was built out of coquina, and it was washed away during a hurricane. I don't remember the date. That's the access to the lighthouse. It was washed away during a hurricane. And down here, which is a boat launch, but when the tide is really, really low, you can see some of the foundation stones of that old lighthouse. Now we're at low tide, but we also have storm surge, so I don't think it's going to be low enough for you to see. Nope, no, even at low tide, the old foundation stones for the original lighthouse are right out there. But even though it's low tide, we've still got storm surge, so you can't see. There's the lighthouse in front of us, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive around here a little bit where it's low. The sun's peeping through. You can go on your side of the road, dude. Thank you. So interestingly enough, this doesn't look as tore up as I thought it would be. I thought, yeah. Well, this is a high part. You know, you can see it's lower down there. Oh boy, there was water there. Look at that. That whole street was covered in water. Wow, wow, look at that. Yeah. Yeah, completely. Okay. So let's go over to Davis Shores. And actually, you know what? I'm not positive, but where we are right now could be part of Davis Shores. I'm not sure. Someone who knows this part of town better would know. I'm not sure. Could be. Oh, do you see right in front of us? Oh my God, look at all that water right in front of us. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's because this is all fake. This is all reclaimed. It's completely flooded over there. That's what I'm talking about. This is all fake. There's nowhere for the water to go. There's nowhere for the water to go. Lordy. Oh, no, I can't turn there. Okay. I think I can turn here. I'm going to have to turn around anyway because I can't go over the Bridge of Lions. So I'm going to have to make a U-turn. See, there's somebody else that took their boat out of the water. Smart dude. He didn't leave his boat in the water. Another guy took his boat out of the water. Smart people. Now I can tell. Oh, there's 2 more boats that people took out of the water. See, these people are smart. Yeah, they suffer back here. They get it. They get it hard back here. Yeah, this was some of the first land to be drained back here. So, but this is also not cheap real estate. So they all have all the insurance they need. Took their cat out of the water, smart people. I saw pictures yesterday of cars just on the roads here on the this is Davis Shores, and you could see the river was already. You see the river was totally over this berm here. You see the river was all here, and there were people that had their cars here. I mean, it might have literally been here. People had their cars here, and their cars were completely inundated. You know, the water was in the cab, not a high SUV or a truck, but a car, and the water was completely in the cab. So yeah, actually, I'm not gonna go through there. I'm not gonna go through there. I could, but I already made my brakes angry driving through as much as Old Town as I did. So I'm not gonna do that. So sorry, I'm not gonna take you all the way out to the point. Sorry, not gonna do it. Now I have to figure out my way back. Let's try going this way. I'm not sure where I'm going. We'll figure it out together. I think we'll see if we kept going that way behind me. We go like to the lowest point of the island where it all began, where it all started, where the first developments were. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, look at there too. Okay. Yep. Let's see if I can get out here. There's a little water to drive through there, but that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, these people get it back here. Oh, you can see if you look on people's lawns, you can see how high the circle is. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come back the way. I'm going to go back the way I came. I'm not going to drive through any more standing water. I'm not going to do it. Sorry. I know you want to see blood, but I'm not going to tempt fate. Go to the right, but I could have gotten through there. I'm gonna go through there. I could have gone through there, and that actually might be the street where Oglethorpe Park is. Somewhere over here is a park that maybe commemorates isn't the right word, where Oglethorpe set up his cannons to bombard the Castillo de San Marcos when this was still Spanish territory. This might be the street where that park is on. can't remember where that park is, and I tried to find it yesterday. But so if a big old truck like that is backing up, that's not a very good sign. I can certainly get through this. But if he doesn't want to go any further forward, that's... Oh, here's the park right here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so there's somebody behind me. So see, this is where Oglethorpe set up his battery. And this is where, from his site, General James Oglethorpe, commanding military officers from Georgia and Carolina, bombarded Castillo de San Marcos from June 27th to July 20th, 1740. The Castillo's massive coquina walls absorbed the cannonballs, shot, and damage was slight. Florida's Spanish governor Manuel de Montiano returned the fire, but the exchange was indecisive. Provisions arrived from Havana just in time to relieve a critical shortage, which would have caused St. Augustine to capitulate. Frustrated by the military stalemate of the overcoming hurricane season, Oglethorpe withdrew to Georgia. All right. So that's that. Yeah. And that's at the corner of Oglethorpe and Arredondo. So yeah, so I'm not going to drive through there because that, oh, look at over there. That big old truck didn't want to drive through there, so I'm not either. I'm going to go this way. So there it is. Oglethorpe Battery Park. And that thing's coquina. There was a little bit of water here. All right, how can we get out? Oh, crap, look right in front of me, too. Can I get through here? This is hilarious. Can I get out here? Nope. Nope. Okay, I can't get out that way. Let's see. See, again, see, all this is fake. This is all fake and dredged out and filled in. It's all part of Oglethorpe Park. So this is all fake and dredged and filled in. It's supposed to be marshland. So I gotta figure out how to get back to A1A. I can't go over the Bridge of Lions, so I have to go back south to get back over the bridge to get back home. So let's see if I can stay on high ground. So again, realize we're in incoming tide now. Low tide was at like 3:45 and it's 4:20. So the tide is coming back in now, but and the tide was almost 6 feet today at the bridge where they mark it. So in my neighborhood alone, there was at least 2.5 to 3 feet of water. So if there are still streets this flooded, just imagine what it looked like when the tide was still incoming, right? Pretty severe, right? Yeah. Okay, so I can get back out to A1A here. This is A1A up ahead. There's that guy's boat. He had the wits to pull out of the water. And I'm going to go back over the 312 bridge to go back home. And so when we get over the 312 bridge and we get on the land side, you might be able to see some roseate spoonbills. You might, I don't know. They were on the west side when we came over. We'll have to see what we see. That's all flooded back there. Wow. Okay. So yeah, A1A South, there's the Lighthouse to give you relevance. We're going to go past the old alligator farm, which was one of the attractions that the original bridge across the Matanzas River was built for. It was built for the streetcar that would take people from Flagler's hotels over here to the Lighthouse and the alligator farm. And there was another attraction over here. It was near the Lighthouse. It's a completely made up thing. I did a video about it. There's the alligator farm. It was a completely made up, goofy, nonsensical thing, but it was something about, there was the Fountain of Youth over by where I live, over by the inlet, and then there was another back here by the Lighthouse. There was another thing like that where I can't remember what they called it, but this is so stupid. There's artesianal water all over here, right? There's not one Fountain of Youth. Florida is all the Fountain of Youth. Florida is all limestone artesianal water. And so somewhere over near the Lighthouse, there was a natural spring. And this was back when idiots were trying to attract as much tourists. Get on one of Henry Flagler's trains and come down to Florida and stay in one of Henry Flagler's hotels and see all these attractions. And everybody was getting in on this Florida horse manure. And there was some hee-haw who, what he did is he took this, he found this natural spring, and he'd put kerosene in the water, and then he'd light it on fire. And so I don't remember what it was called. It's in the video that I did, but the whole thing of it was it's like this burning eternal flame Fountain of Youth, but it was all fake. I mean, the water wasn't fake. It was a natural spring, but there are springs in people's backyards here. I mean, it's no big deal. Florida is built on limestone. There's limestone underneath all of us. That the whole, that everything doesn't sink into sinkholes. Is a miracle. So the water was real, but these guys that are just trying to make as much money as they can, Oh, God. Put kerosene in the water. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that video, but one of the many goofy ones. I think the name of the video was something like "Goofy Florida Attractions That No Longer Exist" or something like that. Anyway, so we're on State Road 312, and we're going to go over the bridge that takes us to US 1 landside, and careful because the light's not working. And the roseate spoonbills were on that side, but let's see when we go over there on this side too. So there are big pink birds here in North Florida that people think are flamingos. They're not flamingos. Flamingos don't come all this far north. They are roseate spoonbills, and they're called spoonbills because their bills are flat and long, and at the end it flares out like a spoon. But they're that same beautiful pink color, but they have the bodies more of wood storks. So let's see. Coming up here, we have to go over the bridge, and then they'll either be on the retention ponds on both sides or not. We'll see. So go open the window. We're going over the Matanzas River here, which is what the intracoastal waterway is here, the Matanzas River, the same river that goes in front of the Castillo de San Marcos, Matanzas, named for slaughter. You can see the Flagler buildings down there ahead. Now, at its highest, you couldn't see any of that grassland. During Ian, you couldn't see any of that grassland. I don't know if it got that high for Nicole, but I know for Ian, you couldn't see any of it. Okay, so here, well, there's no, yep, these are roseate spoonbills. Those pink birds are not flamingos, they're roseate spoonbills. I can't, oh, I can zoom. Okay. Can you see, can you see their beaks? I don't know if you can see their beaks. Yeah, those are not flamingos, they're roseate spoonbills. Good. I'm glad that I was able to pull over. But they're huge, like storks. So when they're flying over you, they're kind of horrifying. They're these big red birds flying over the top of your head. And they're seasonal birds. Okay, I just wanted you to see that. All right, cool. I'm glad you got to see that. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Look that up. Roseate. R-O-S-E-A. Roseate. R-O-S-E-A-T-E. Roseate. Spoonbill. And you will learn much more about them. They are very loved here. Very loved. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. I don't know if there's going to be anything interesting to see. We will be on a side of the creek over King Street, so you'll be able to see that a little clearer. But all of the carnage that you might have been able to see, we've pretty much seen already. We're just in the part of St. Augustine that's, it's like where the stores and stuff are. There's Aldi and Marshall's and Ross and Chick-fil-A and the liquor store and Burger King. It's just, the normal part. Walmart, Target, this whole part of, whatever you want to call this. Trulieve. We have so many dispensaries here, it's crazy, and they're all like within 2 miles of one another. So this is just boring here. But we'll shortly we will go back over. We'll go back over the creek, Mosquito Creek, and you'll be able to see another angle of King Street into downtown and what the water's looking like, and then that will be that. Because I need to go assess the water around my house and decide what I'm going to do with my car. And if I want to go to the liquor store and buy some more, what did I have? Pineapple cider. Oh my God, it was so good, so refreshing. But it's dangerous because it doesn't feel like you're drinking alcohol at all. It's just super refreshing. Kind of like when you drink, what is that stuff? Mike's Hard Lemonade, is that what it's called? You drink that stuff and you don't even realize you're drinking alcohol, especially if it's hot and the beverage is really cold. I might get some more of that pineapple cider. All right. Yeah. Coming up on the light at King Street. Now it hasn't rained, so depending on where the eye wall is, the next high tide, which is around 9 o'clock tonight, might not be too bad. It all depends on where the eye wall is. Oh, so he's turning into Old Town, it looks like. Yeah, people are turning to go up King Street into Old Town, so they've opened it back up. Okay, so all the water has left the bridge. I am not going to go there. I've been driving around for 2 hours. I've had it. But this is indicating that the water is completely off of King Street. So that's a good thing. All right. But you can see, do you see all the junk there? That's how high the water was. The river was there, or in this case, it's that creek. So, yeah, this is that creek. And So what happens is you see that bridge, and it's only a foot or so below the bridge. What happens is it gets up to the top of the bridge, and then it just goes into all the low spots. So we're kind of on the back side. We're on the west side of Old City right here. And whoa, what? You see, the creek was here where all that junk is on the road. Well, you know, they almost got hit. Oh, look at, that's all water in that parking lot there. That's the San Sebastian River over there. When I take videos of the river out my porch, my front porch, that's the river I'm taking videos of, just not at this exact point right here. Look at that. Okay, see, that's all still flooded. That's Orange Street. That's the old moat, and that's why it floods so bad. Because it's all, you know, it's all, cops at the light because the light's not working. It's all concrete because it was a moat. So it floods, and, you know, the flood water has nowhere to go because it's all just concrete. Kind of like if you've ever been to Waikiki and you wonder why at 10 o'clock at night it's so hot, because all the concrete, the 40 or some feet of concrete underneath your feet has been absorbing heat all day, because Waikiki was Waikiki was swamp, and they dredged it and built the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. And I only know these things because I used to live there, and I'm dorky that way. If I live somewhere, I find out all the stupid ass history about it. So yeah, lovely old Tartarian church there, aka, as they're called here in Florida, river churches, or whatever you want to call it. My video about the architect Richard Upjohn called Richard Upjohn, the guy who founded the American Institute of Architects, who's also claims responsibility for all of these river churches, these small Tartarian churches. The Episcopalian Cabinet Maker, that's what the video is called, the Episcopalian Cabinet Maker, and that's about Richard Upjohn, who is the guy who supposedly filled Florida and lots of the United States, but mostly the South, with all these small river churches that were built by water. Oh God, I can't even get out. I'm trying to get out. Where'd all this traffic come from, you guys? Jesus. I'm trying to get over to my liquor store. I'm going to go get some more pineapple cider, and that's going to be the end of my foray driving you around today. People are out hooky-wooing. All right, I think I can get out now. Okay, here I am, pulling into Old Town Liquor. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if we keep going on that road, we would be at the Fountain of Youth. I'm going to roll up the windows. I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. I hope this was interesting. How do I turn this off now?